Hey guys, welcome to the Identity Shift. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another segment on the Identity Shift. I'm your girl, as you guys know, Tia Upshaw, and today we have Revello. Revello Smith is with us, and I'm really happy because I had him on my radio show. I'm trying to get him on CTV. That hasn't happened yet in person, like together. But Revello is well known, and if you guys don't know him, you're gonna know enough about this young man in the next 50 minutes that you'll be able to take away a lot of information and feel inspired. Hey, Revello, how are you doing?
I'm good, Tia. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm good. I'm good. So, people are probably going to say, I don't know, Revello. Revello, tell them a little bit about who you are. What do you do?
Yes.
What you're over
So,
here popping around?
my name again is Revello Smith. I am an entrepreneur by trade. I am a licensed minister. I'm a business-minded individual. I love
Mm-hmm.
music. I love to sing. I love to have fun. I love to help people. I really have a helping, a servant's heart, if you will. I
Yeah.
love to see people being pushed into purpose. I love cars. I detail cars. I love building cars. Everything outdoors, aside from the animals, love doing it. Everything spiritual, where God is concerned, I love being in church. And then I just love so many different aspects of music.
Well, we know that you are into music. I shouldn't say we know, I know. But for me, I always wondered, individuals like yourself, the
Mhm.
dedication to church, since you were a child, how do you feel that shaped you and your experiences going into, I mean, you're turning 30 in a couple
Yes.
of days, going
Yes.
into adulthood?
You know what? I think it gave me such a strong foundation. And I'll say that because where music is concerned, where my auto detailing company is concerned, there's no aspect of that I do without making sure that I involve God with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even when it came to I started detailing when I was probably 12 years old. I like had my own company around that age. But then by the time I turned 16, I was like, oh, I don't have a name yet. So I'm trying to think of a name. And the first thing I did was God, like, help me to figure out a name that would make sense for
Wow.
the company that would also align and show them that this is a Christian individual. So the original name is Exquisite Excellence. It's now Exquisite Automotive, just to encompass more of the automotive aspect of it. But when you're doing anything exquisitely or excellently, you definitely have to have God with it
Yeah.
because that's the expectation that He has of you, you know? Even where singing is concerned, making sure that I'm singing and understanding that I'm only doing this, I only have this ability because of God. This isn't because, oh, it might be genetic, it might be passed down, but at the end of the day, God is the one that gives us everything that we have. So
Absolutely.
I'm just making sure that I give all the glory back to Him through all of those things.
And that's so true. I was gonna say that it was passed down, but it is true. I'm so glad that you corrected us or me before we even said it out loud,
Mhm.
because your family comes from a line of singers. It's a thing. It is a
Yes,
thing.
yes,
And you guys' voices are beautiful. But it's the grace of God to get you to where you're at. Every single successful part of you and bad part, but successful part,
yes,
since we're talking about that,
yeah,
has been because of him. So I appreciate you correcting before I said it.
yes, of course.
You talked about your business, and I've been there. I've got you to detail my car, which has to go back in again because it's
Yes,
disgusting again. It's been a long summer.
yes, for sure.
And I know you're still in the ministry. You're still, doing music. You're running your business. I know there's other
Mhm.
projects off of that business that you want to do. You're really impactful in the communities.
Yes.
For a young black man, how the hell do you balance all this?
The first thing I do is I give it to God because I say, Lord, like we got 24 hours in a day,
And
and I
that's
have
all we
one of
got.
me, right? I got one of me, so definitely giving it back to God. And the second thing is really being strict and disciplined with yourself.
Mm,
Strict and disciplined in the aspect of scheduling your days out. I have an app on my phone that I use where I will schedule my day from the time I wake up until the time I go to sleep, just to make sure that I'm getting all of those things done, as well as incorporating time to say I'm shutting down at 10 p.m. and I'm not gonna be up doing this email or sending that email or uploading that social media video or whatever the case
It's
might
true.
be. Being able to have that level of discipline, I think, is really ultimately what allows me to be able to do the things that I do, and be as busy as I am, without having to deal with, okay, I'm crashing or I'm not feeling well. And then even when you do get to that point where you're not feeling well, saying, okay, well, I'm not feeling well, I'm taking some time off. You know what I mean? I need some time to relax, allowing yourself to have those opportunities. But I think discipline is really what, is for me, it's evolutionary, it's ever
It
growing.
is important.
It's something that it needs to happen on a consistent basis, but it also needs to change on a consistent basis as you grow and progress and your business grows and progress. The level of discipline needs to grow and progress.
Oh, that's facts. That's facts. I do time blocking too, strict to my schedule. Boundaries. I just realized that I had to create boundaries in 2024 because
Yes.
before I would just let everybody have access to me. I want to help everybody, right?
Right.
And you can't help everybody when no one's pouring into your cup what you have to give.
Of course.
So in 2024, literally said, I am going to create boundaries. Doesn't mean I'm not going to support and help people. It just means that I need to just say, after this time, I'm not responding to an email. You can't call my phone. I'm going to
Right.
bed. I mean, Revello.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you already adopted those routines and, being so structured at an early age.
Yes.
With regards to your journey as a minister, and I
Hmm.
know people are going to be like, I can't believe he does all these things. But with your journey
Hmm.
as a minister, well, you started ministry in 2025, I think I said 2023. I seen it somewhere. It's 2025, I think it was.
Yes.
And then you got your license in 2016.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what that journey was about? Like,
Hmm.
was it easy? Was it difficult? What did you have to go through to get it? Like,
Right. Right. Yeah. No, for sure. It was definitely. I would definitely say it wasn't an easy journey. At the like I said, yeah, 2012 is when it started, and the recognition, that I had a call on my life to ministry, was there, but it wasn't always accepted from my end of the spectrum. I had
um,
pastors that often let me know, like, you got something, there's a call in your life, I've been praying about it, God's been showing me these things about you, but I can't do anything unless you want to accept that. I can
absolutely.
mentor you, I can help you in these aspects, but it has to be you first that initiates that and shows me that this is what I want to do. So I would say it was very difficult because, especially thinking back to that age between, I think it was 17 or 16, to about 20, around those times, you're you're really coming into your own. You're learning the good and bad parts of yourself. You're also getting to the point where everything is now becoming society, based off society,
Yeah.
legal. You can do whatever you feel like. I can go out and stay out late. I can do what I want without having my parents say that you can't do it. So things like that, where things of the world were happening for me, and God was saying, "I need you in church." So it was
Mm.
that dilemma, so to speak, where it's like, God, I'm just gaining my freedom, and now you're saying that you want me to stop being free. I want you to come to church. But then at the end of it, ultimately, what I've learned through it all was that the freedom is in church. The freedom is in God,
Oh, I love that.
because of the fact that I'm not having to. I'm thankful that I didn't have to, not to say I didn't have difficulties in life, but I'm thankful that I didn't go the path I could have gone.
Literally, speak
Thankful
it.
that I might have tried it, but then I was like, okay, no, let me go back to church, because
Yeah.
there were many things that I could have done, and I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you having this conversation with you. So it was a very difficult start, but I'm very thankful for the process of it, because where my heart is now is young men like myself that are business owners, that might not even be business owners, but that have difficulties and different aspects of life that they're struggling with. But now, because I've had experiences like that, I can at least show them, okay, you know what? I
Yeah.
understand, because I went through something like this
I
myself.
get it. Lived
This is what I've
experiences. Yeah.
done. Because it's one thing to say, oh, yeah, don't do this or don't do that. And it's like, but why?
Yeah.
Why?
Why? And who are you to tell me that?
And who are you to tell me that? But then when you can say, okay, this is who I was, and they understand who you were, then they say, okay, now you can actually relate to me. So you have something
It's true.
relatable, and now I can, okay, you know what, let me stay quiet, let me listen to what you're saying because it's actually making sense, right? So things like that where it was very difficult, but I would say definitely very fulfilling, and even now very encouraging for me to just continue studying, to continue developing my in different aspects of ministry. I'm currently
Yeah.
at Acadia Divinity College, going into my second year now. I'm licensed as a
Wow.
minister through the Church of God in Christ, through the Fellowship of Christian Assemblies, and I'm also recognized through the province of Nova Scotia as a minister. But I'm continuing my studies. I'm actually through the province. I'm recognized as a reverend, so I'm Reverend Revello Smith. Across the province of
Yes.
Nova Scotia. So, but still continuing my studies because Bible tells us to study to show ourselves approved. And I said until I get to heaven, I haven't been approved of everything, right? So
Oh, I
continue
love
to
that.
study and continue working and just doing those things that God wants us to do.
Wow. That gave me a little bit of goosebumps there. That was real powerful. And that brings me into the segue because you're talking about youth. And I can kind of see the answer, but if you can kind of connect the dots for us, how do you see your role as a mentor in the community and, the impact that you're having on other young black men or men in general, or even
Yeah.
some of the young females in the community?
Yeah. So again, I'm always of the mind. I want to help people. I want to figure out what I can do to help people.
Hold on a sec, Revello,
Yeah.
because I'm going to edit this out in a second. Someone's cutting something in the back. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, that's annoying. Okay. I'm going to ask that question again, and
Yeah.
then I'll edit a part out.
Okay.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ravel, this brings me into the segue for the next question, because you talked about youth and having conversation with them to lead them in the right path.
Right.
How do you see your role as a mentor in the community, and how have you seen the impact that you have on other young black males, females, in the
Right.
community?
Right. So, because of the mindset and the heart that I have to always help and to just be a servant of others, a couple of years back, I started my own nonprofit organization called Brothers and Friends Canada. Specifically, the focus was to focus on males. Because I do believe that the man should be the head of a household. The man should be the one
Mm-hmm.
that's saying, "Hey, you know what? I got my wife, I got my children. Let me lead them so that they have a great example to follow." Nothing that a man can't do to say, "Okay, you know what? Let's bring my wife along with me." But I wanted to make sure that we
Absolutely.
focused on the men from a young age, and teaching them these things. So through the community, I've done different events where I've just offered opportunities to have conversations. I did a grief counseling session not too long ago for young adults.
I seen that. Bravo.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Yeah, and it was just really just to open up the opportunity to say, hey, let's talk. Like we've dealt with a lot of gun violence in the communities. How do you feel about it? How has it affected you? And I created a little bit of a workbook for them to be able to take home and
Oh,
start working
wow.
through some of that. So I'm like, if you're dealing with grief, even outside of what we dealt with at in the communities where gun violence is concerned, I want you to take this and talk about your personal grief. And then I gave them different steps to be able to understand what grief is, what it looks like, and how to get beyond that. So I am planning another a session sometime later in the year, as well as even next year. Not just grief counseling, but healing sessions, sessions
All
on
that.
forgiveness.
Yeah.
All of those things, making myself available to other organizations that say, hey, we might need someone to come in as a guest speaker, letting them know that I'm available to do that as well. And even where the church is concerned, I'm helping to lead one of our young adult department at the church that I'm at, Word in Action Ministries, helping to lead the young adult
Wow.
department. Just because I want to see the young adults do better. I want to see us do well, but I want to also help us to get there. You know what I mean? I don't want to just say, like, hey, we got to do better, but then not offer
And
any
not provide,
like we got to
resources to
provide
do that.
solutions here, right? So trying to do those things while providing solutions for them. And like I said, continuing to run my nonprofit organization and making sure that even if people don't know the nonprofit, I just want to make sure that they know there's stuff available. You know what I mean? There's stuff that's
Yeah.
happening, there's events that are happening, and it's all for your healing, it's all for your benefits. So just show up, and trying to make a lot of them free events, because I'm like, we want to make sure that people get out and they can show up and they can benefit from these things and they can take it back to their families and then just help their families to become better people as well.
Oh my God, you just answered that question better than I thought you were going to answer. Gosh, the healing one, I did see that around the gun violence because there's been a lot of deaths in the
Yes.
black communities over the last few years, but recently, just ridiculously
Yeah.
high rates. And when I seen that you were heading this, I was like, he got it. He got it.
Yes.
Because there's so many strong black women who are heading these, powerful events, powerful initiatives.
Yeah.
It's very seldom you see a strong black male doing it.
Right.
And I'm glad that you're spearheading it and that you're showing other black males they can be leaders too.
It's
Let's
true.
all get out here and do something. Let's all get out here and
Yeah.
help the younger generation to provide them with resources and strategies and ways to navigate
Yes.
harmful things that are happening in their communities.
Yeah, no, it's true. I was just saying to someone, had to be just last week, I was saying, like, we have the Iyanla Van Zants, we have the Oprah Winfreys, we have the Tia Upshaws, but I'm like, where are the Martin Luther Kings? Where's Malcolm X?
It's true.
We need them. You know what I mean? And it was after that movement. There's been there was a generation where we really didn't have males that had that same effect. You
No.
know, we have the Al Sharptons, but if you think of that generation between him, the Al Sharptons, and the Malcolm X and Martin Luther Kings, then it
There
was
was a
Barack.
huge gap.
There was a huge gap, and then you had Barack Obama. But then you think about him, like he's closer to their generation, if anything, right?
Exactly. He
So
just came out. He just came
exactly,
out, but he's in their generation. Like,
right,
where is the
right.
Revello's generation? My
Exactly,
brother
like
is
Dr.
what?
Umar's, but still
Yeah.
different generation, right? So there's a huge gap right now.
Well, keep doing what you're doing in that field, because it's well needed. I get a lot of people that are like, "When are you going to do a black male in excellence or black men in excellence?"
Right,
And I said, "I never am going to."
right,
But if somebody else wants to do it, I have no problem with mentoring them
right.
to structure it in a way where it's sustainable,
Yes,
and that you're creating, intentional major impact. You
for
can't
sure.
just have, organizations that's doing something just to get funding.
No,
That's one of my pet peeves. And I'm really big on, the impact and the data. And I need this, I want to see what the trickle effect is happening
yes,
in the black community.
yes,
And, for me, I'm going to toot my own horn. Black women in excellence is having trickle effects left, right, and
yes.
center.
They are. They
And
are.
it's beautiful because I never thought I could do it.
Right.
So for anybody listening who thinks that they can't or it's not going to work, it absolutely will. And Ravello, if you ever think about giving up, how dare you? You cannot give up. You're in your prime right now,
Yes.
and you have a purpose to do what you're doing, and you have to keep going with it.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Well, the next question is my most exciting part of my
Hmm.
interviews I do. Everybody knows I love business. I
Right.
love it. I love entrepreneurship.
Yes.
In addition to your ministry work, your singing, your
Hmm.
community impact, and all that, you have a luxury
Yes.
keyword marketing
Yes.
luxury
Yes.
auto detailing company.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how you got that started.
Yeah, so a little bit about that detailing journey. So I started detailing cars when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old.
Jeez.
Just at the house, just helping out around the house, cleaning the vehicles that were in the driveway. Saturday morning, simply going down to the car wash, washing the car, making sure it was ready for Sunday. You know what I mean? So started like that, and then as I got older, we began to around the age of 12, 13. We started getting into the age of social media and the cell phone.
Yeah.
We had the Nokias, but this was like
Not the
now they're coming out
Nokias.
with touchscreens. So I'm like, I remember I had like it was like a brass Nokia phone, had the antenna. You had to pull the antenna up on the top of it.
I remember.
You remember, right? So I had one of those, and it wasn't working. It was just an old phone that one of my parents weren't using anymore. So I remember when we got to the point where now it's like, oh, you got a touch screen, so you could touch the screen. It wasn't really a touch screen. There was two buttons on the screen that you had to touch, so it was considered a touch screen. But I really wanted to get one of these cell phones, so My parents said, okay, we'll get you one for Christmas. And it was $183. Can you believe that? A full cell phone, $183 with taxes in. That's
You could
that was
never right now get that.
You'll never get that now. But I got that phone, and they said to me, okay, now that we've given you this phone, we're going to teach you responsibility. You have to pay for it. So I was like, how? I'm 13 years old. How am I going to pay for the phone? And they said, well, that's up to you to figure out. So I started thinking, and I said, okay, I started writing stuff down. Like, what do I know how to do? I'm like, I know how to sing. I know how to wash cars. I'm like, singing is going to be hard. I can't just go to people's houses and knock on the door and sing and get money. I wish. But I'm like, maybe if I go door to door with my detailing stuff and I let people know I detail cars, maybe I can do that. So at the age of 13, I just went on my street one Saturday morning
Mm-mm-mm.
and I started at the top. I lived on a cul-de-sac, so I started at the top of the street, and I knocked on doors. And I got home that day. Started at about 9, got home at about 6 p.m. And I had cleaned so many cars. I came home, and my parents were saying to me like, "Oh, where were you all day?" So I was just outside, and I said, "I'm trying to make some money to get cars." Like, "Oh, like how much did you make?" And I was like, "I haven't counted yet." So I like just take all this like money out of my pocket, just like threw it on the table, and they looked at me, and they're like,
Like what?
what's happening? So counted, and I think it was like $300-400 that I had made in the first day. And I was like, well, how much is the phone bill? And they're like, it's like $20. And I was like, oh, this is great. So I started doing that. But then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, well, I want to buy other stuff now. So I just kept doing that. And so essentially, that's how the inception of me
Wow.
detailing came to
I love
be.
it.
So I just started going to door to door. And then instead of doing this my street, I started going up the street. And at this time, I was really only charging like $20-40 to clean a vehicle, right? So I started going up the street and around doing that. And I did that for a couple of years. And when I turned 16, I really said, okay, you know what? I took a business course in high school. I'm like, this is really a business that I have. So I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I should put a name to it. So as I was mentioning before, I prayed about it, asked God. God gave me the name, or gave me the idea of the name. So I came up with Exquisite Excellence. And I didn't register it at first. I registered it when I was about 18 years old. And I've
Oh
essentially had the name
wow.
ever since then. So yeah, I'm over right now. I'm currently technically speaking, from registration, I'm over 10 years in business, and I'll be 30 in a couple of days, like I said. So I'm really thankful for it, and that's essentially how the journey started. And I had a shop when I was in Ontario. The shop was going well, and I decided to do everything I wanted to do, except do things properly, spend the money where I felt like spending it, and buy the things I felt like buying. Even I'll give this to other business owners that are listening. Even though you're buying equipment for the business, it doesn't always mean that it's the right time to buy that equipment for the business. Don't go and spend $3-4 thousand on a piece of equipment if you have things that can still work. It might take you a little bit longer, but it
Yes.
can still work. Put yourself in a position where you're just doing things decently and in order, especially where the business is concerned, because you will have your good months, you will have your bad months. Just prepare, be organized,
Facts.
and don't feel like you have to have the presentation of a
Oh,
10-star business. Have the presentation of a 10-star business, because as long as you're providing 10-star quality every time, people are going to come back to you. They don't care if it's in your basement, they don't care if it's at the
they
side of
don't.
the house.
They
They
don't.
don't care. They just want the quality every single time. So as long as you're giving them that, then you're good to go.
Oh, thank you for putting that out there because it's one of my things that really makes me uncomfortable when I see businesses
Hmm.
expand or scale or, want to get new equipment. And I'm like, I know there's no way your revenue, your profit margins are going to allow you to do that. Your
Yes.
revenue is not like that. And I think it's a lot to do with the social media.
Yes.
You have to, everything has to look a certain way, aesthetically
Yep.
pleasing, or doesn't look like it's a good business, or it's not professional. But like Revello said, you guys, you can be on the side of your house, your basement, your backyard, in a little
Yep.
hut. It's not about where your business is, it's about the services that you're offering
Yeah.
or the products you're offering to the consumer. That's what counts.
That's what counts exactly. That's it.
Oh my goodness. Well, this question is, I get asked it all the time, and I'm just like, what do you think? But what are some of the challenges you faced as an
Hmm.
entrepreneur going from Ontario, because it's bigger, and
Yes.
people spend money freely in Ontario than they
Yes.
do in Nova Scotia. In Nova Scotia, we're very conservative, and
Yes.
sometimes people can't see a value in a service.
Hmm.
What are some of the challenges you faced as an entrepreneur
Yeah.
transferring over, transitioning?
For sure. So one of the main challenges that I faced when I transitioned from Ontario, the first thing that I wanted to figure out was what do my prices now become when
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Nova Scotia? And I thought about it for some time, and my response and my answer was the prices stay the same. But the difficulty with that was I have to now, without having the clients, be able to show them the quality and have them understand the quality that I'm presenting without compromising my pricing system.
Ah,
Because if I had would have said, okay, you know what, I'm going to drop all of my prices by 25%. My quality cannot drop 25%, but the prices have to drop 25%. A lot of people were saying, yeah, but it's more expensive in Ontario. And I said, is it more expensive, or is there a larger amount of people paying the
absolutely.
same price?
Bingo.
You know, I'm like, it's a larger amount of people because in the province of Nova Scotia, we recently got to what is it, the population of 1 million. But
Finally.
finally, but in the city of Toronto, there's a population of 1 million. So I'm like, that city is saturated with 1 million people paying the same prices. But because we are here in Nova Scotia and we are spread out, because I told them, I said, if you look at a house down here compared to a house in Toronto, the prices are going to be very similar. And they said, oh, but you get more land. I said, I understand that. But in Ontario, you're not paying $7 for a carton of milk. Down here,
Nope.
you are. You know what I mean? In Ontario, gas is $1.40 right now. Down here, it's $1.62. So I'm like, everything really at the end of the day is going to balance out to be relatively the same price. So
Absolutely.
I couldn't allow myself to say I'm going to drop my prices because I said if my prices go down, I said my quality can't go down. My quality has to stay the same. If I'm providing a luxury service, I have to make sure that they understand that luxury is going to
That
cost
that
you a
that
little bit.
word. That word. Yeah.
It's going to cost you a little bit more. So it was just really getting myself. That was one of the main struggles with the transition coming down here was getting myself to the point where I was able to expose and have people understand it. And every now and then I was strategic with it. I would have a promoted price. I would say, okay, this one is going to be discounted for the month. So that way, when people will come in and they get the discounted service and they see the quality,
They had no problem going back to pay for
paying for the
originally. Yeah.
regular because they say, you know what, okay, I see the difference in what he's providing and what he's offering versus what the guy
Absolutely.
down the street was offering. So now we get people to the point where I might not get, for example, I might not get a customer every single day buying a quick detail, but 3 times, maybe 3, 4 times a week, I'll get someone that's buying my top end detail package, and
Yeah.
I'll get a few people in between that buy the lower end ones. So I might not be getting the volume, but now people are seeing the quality, so they're purchasing the packages that make more sense over a larger scale, right? So things like that, being able to understand if your market hasn't been saturated and established, that you can also be that person to establish the market
And
for
that's where
them.
you're at. Like your market has not been saturated,
Right.
and you are in a position to create the foundation and framework for
Yes.
everybody else,
Yes, for sure. So that's
which
that's.
I absolutely love. I had this conversation with someone, I
Mhm.
want to say probably 5 years ago, and I'll talk about my cleaning company. And they were like, was it hard? I said, yeah, it was hard. It was hard with clients when I had to change my prices based on supplies. If the
Right.
supplies go up, my price has to go up in
Yes.
order for my profit margins to equal out.
Yes.
And clients didn't like it, but what I had to educate them on is that cleaning services is not, what do you call it? Cleaning services is not a given. It's not something that it's a need.
Right.
Cleaning
Right.
services is a fucking luxury.
Yes.
And
Yes.
getting your car detail is a luxury.
Luxury. Yes.
And my thing is, if you want luxury, be prepared to pay for. You cannot
Yes.
complain to a business owner that it's too expensive because this
Right.
is not a need; it's a
Right.
want.
It's a want. It's a want. 100%.
And I love how you be
100%.
standing your ground. Like I will say that you're very affordable.
Hmm.
Um, very affordable actually because I
Yeah.
had my car left with you for a half a day
Yeah.
and it was very affordable. I thought it was going to be more than what it was.
Hmm.
Your prices probably went up since I was with you in the spring, which is
Yes.
totally fine.
Yes.
But even my fiance was like, the car is like brand new. It was just a vibe.
Yeah.
And I still didn't come back over and get my stuff, but you can toss that out at this point.
No, no, I still got it. I got
Oh,
it.
because I totally forgot about it. I was just thinking about it right
Yes, but I
now.
still got it. I still got it.
My car, it was just nice. It was nice to have. It was shiny. When I pulled up, I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh God, this is my Mazda."
Yes.
And then on top of that, your customer service
Hmm.
is a bonus.
Thank you.
You're not an asshole. Like you're not about just that dollar. You're really about creating that relationship between the client and the business
Yes,
owner.
for sure.
So that's beneficial to us too. You have a clean space you can wait in. Like it's just the whole vibe.
Yeah.
But in addition to the business,
Hmm.
I know you have your non for profit, but with the business, you alluded to a little bit of consultation services in our conversation.
Yes.
Um, what does that look like? And
Yes.
is it going to be off of the car detailing business, or is it going to be a part of the non for profit? How
Right.
are you going to kind of ring it out there? Because I would like to see you do more facilitations and workshops in community and
Yes.
at schools and a lot of other places.
Yeah.
Um, how's that going to look? And the second question to that is, what inspired you to start helping other businesses and owners navigate their businesses? Because you
Hmm.
do that too.
Yes, for sure. So yeah, the consultation aspect of it will be trickling off of the non-for-profit,
Okay.
and yeah, that will be a similar aspect to detailing. I offer consultation, but more so, for example, like if you say, okay, I need my car done, but I don't know what I'll need, I can come to your vehicle, look at your vehicle, and make a recommendation to you based off of what I see. But the consultation is going to be more on a personal level for other people, other business owners. And also answering the second question, because of the struggles that I've gone through,
Mm.
I don't think that any of the information I have should be a secret.
No, it should not. Do not gatekeep,
All
brother. Get it out
exactly
there.
all of the information that I've gotten was either been someone mentoring me and telling me, hey, this is what I've done to get past here, or reading a book and saying, okay, you know what, this is what I'm understanding through this book. Whatever the case might have been, the information that I've received was freely given to me. So who am I to say I'm going to hold on to this? I'm going to keep
Thank
this
you.
from my own people. I want to be of the mindset that, hey, if you need help with your business, you can reach out to me. I want to be able to offer some sort of consultation where I can be able to see other people be successful in their own businesses. There's so many people that I've spoken to over the last while who have some great potential ideas, but they just don't know how to get it off
To
the ground.
execute it. Yeah,
They don't know
that's
how
so
to execute,
true.
right? A lot of people think that, oh, I have to. And I'll be honest. I think that provincially, this might be a spiritual thing, but a lot of people believe that if you don't have a paper that is signed by a white man to say that you are validated to do these things, then you cannot do it.
Oh,
You need
absolutely. That's
that
facts.
certification
That's
that's
facts.
signed by the white man to say that this is what you have to do. This is who. Now that you've done my course in programming, then this validates you. But at the end of the day, that person never gave me the talent. God did. So if God has released me to go and do these things, then I'm going to do it. If I can be a help along the way to encourage you and show you, okay, now that you're starting with this, don't worry about. Listen, I tell people all the time, you don't. I get it, but you want to register your business name. If you have a very unique name that you want to register and lock in, go ahead and do it.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't need to be your priority. Your priority needs to be putting yourself in front of people
And
uh,
starting.
and start.
Starting.
That's it. Offer your services. I tell people all the time, the first thing you should be starting with, especially in this age of social media, is a platform, whether it be a Instagram, a Facebook page, a website, so that people can see, oh, so and so has a business. I wonder what that is. Now you get people in front of you. So now once you start making money, great, you made your first sale. Now, okay, now you can go and you can pay for a website. You know what I
Oh my
mean? But
God.
don't rush into doing these things. Now you can go register your name. Don't rush into doing these things before you validated that people are actually going to want to purchase your
Revello, you're
product or
speaking
service.
so much facts right
So
now.
it's stuff like that where I really want to be able to just continue helping people, facilitating, and just offering that service of consultation to different people. So it's really something that I'm working on, and I'm even working on trying to create. You inspired me to create like a landing page where people can see that these are the services that I offer and these are the things that I do. So if they're looking
Absolutely.
for someone to be a keynote speaker or facilitate one of their events, then they can see that, okay, this is something that he offers, or even hosting events. I've emceed weddings and different events before. So things like that where people can be able to see that and have a landing page so people can see those things and then be able to actually request that I come in
And
and
it's
do
so
those.
easy. I shouldn't say it's so easy because it took me years to understand how to utilize Wix. So I use Wix,
Yeah.
Wix as a
Yes.
platform.
Okay.
And it took me 2 years of working on Black Women in Excellence website to really craft, understand all the elements and all the plugins and stuff and links.
Right.
And now I know how to use it. I can teach somebody else how to use Wix very easy.
Right.
And what I realized over the last year is that I have my own personal brand that's not affiliated with BWIE. And I could have sat around, waited, and did this and that. I had to do a website before I take bookings. I've been taking bookings. I've been getting booked over for keynote speaking engagements,
Yes.
facilitation workshops, panel discussions, everything.
Yeah.
But I wasn't waiting for a website to do that. I did it. And
Yes.
then when the money started coming in and I realized that it's actually a thing, this is going to
Yes.
be the next thing for Tia. Then I
Yes.
worked on my business website and it took me a weekend and it's
Yeah.
up and running. So now you can go there if you want to book me for a keynote, you want to know what my awards are, my accreditations, everything is under there.
Yes. Yes.
Um, I have a lot of people that I know, and you probably know them too, Revello,
Yeah.
that you have in your circle that, oh, I got to do a website before I start my business. I got to have the best labeling before I put my product out there. I got
Yes.
to have, my Instagram with great pictures and a photo shoot for the pictures before I can put it out. Oh my God, it's my pet peeve.
You don't need
I'm
it.
like, will you shut up? You
Just
just have
go.
to start.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Literally, people don't realize the one biggest restriction they put on themselves when they're starting a business is the fact that they will not stand up and take the first step.
No, they won't. And
They will
I
sit
actually,
behind the
like I said,
computer.
you know them. I know them.
Yes.
We all have them.
Yes, everyone has them, and that's the thing. They want to sit and I want to make everything perfect first. And I say to people all the time, if you had time to make everything perfect first, I said then the reality of this is, I said that we wouldn't need a heaven and we wouldn't need a hell. Because if God had an opportunity and realistically said, I'm just going to make it perfect for you, there would be no need for anything
No
negative to
need.
happen. These are growing pains that you're going to have to go through anyways. But why waste 6 months trying to make everything perfect when the reality is at the seventh month, everything's going to be different? Just
Oh,
start.
Revello, I love that.
That's what you got to do. You just got to give yourself the opportunity to start. Listen, you go get your license. When you first drive, that first opportunity that your parents gave you to take a car and drive a car, it was terrible. You were nervous. You were hitting the
Scared to
brakes.
death.
You were hitting the gas too hard. You didn't know how to do nothing. But the reality
You did
is
it.
that you did it. You started. So once you start, the next time you go, you're going to do a little bit better and a little bit better until eventually you get to the point where now you're a confident driver and you're a good driver. It doesn't, listen, you might not drive the best car in the world. You might not have the most luxury car in the world. But the fact that you've now honed in on the skill that you have, people can see you doing it. People are going to look at you and say, hey, I need some of whatever they got. So it's just a matter of giving yourself that opportunity to go forward and do those things without allowing that person inside of you to restrict you from doing what you need to do.
Yeah, and start waiting, people. Oh, waiting for my logo to get done before I can advertise. Oh, you don't understand how it just grinds my gears because everybody wants a business, but there's not many people that can really step out and step into business.
Yes.
Um, it takes a very special type of person to say, I'm risking it all. Fuck it. I'm going
Yes.
out. I'm doing
Just
it. I'm
going.
going door to door. I'm making cold calls. I'm doing cold emails. I don't care how
Yes.
it works. I'm going to make it work. All
Yep.
that pretty stuff can wait. All of my
Yep.
businesses, that's how I've done it.
Yes.
All of the businesses.
Yep.
Nothing was perfect. Nothing was pretty. There was no logos. There
No.
was no like, oh, let's do a website. Like,
No.
what?
Listen, back in our day, the most we had was a piece of paper with our
A
name and phone
flyer. A
number, and
flyer.
them little strips on the
Flyers.
bottom with my phone number. That's it. We were going to mailboxes, dropping off at the mailbox. I didn't have no
Literally.
logo. All I knew was I was doing cars. So I got a picture of a car, put a picture of a car on there, said auto detailing.
And
Here's
your
my
phone
phone number.
number.
That was it. That was it.
I was cleaning out this office because we're moving into a different office,
Right.
and I found the old brochures for my cleaning company in 2013.
Right.
They were the trifold,
Yes. Yes.
And the graphics was like a stock photo from Word Doc. Oh my god,
Right.
it was horrendous,
Right.
Revello.
Right.
But that brochure took my cleaning company to where it was when I passed it down to my oldest daughter just a year in 2023, a year ago.
Yeah.
But that cleaning company provided me with everything I have now. It helped me
Yeah.
start every other business, the
Yes.
organization, buying my first home. Why I'm set the way I'm set is because of that cleaning company with
Right.
that trifold
Yes, of
brochure.
course. Of course. That's exactly it. It's all those things that people think that really matter, that at the end of it, it doesn't. It's the work. You
It
got to
doesn't.
put
You
in the
just got to
work.
start.
Make yourself available. Just start. That's it.
So with some of the common issues we already talked about some of the common issues that you
Yeah.
see in yourself and with other businesses.
Hmm.
Is there any one common issue that you're able to continuously see when you're speaking to people about their businesses,
Hmm.
or you may be able to say, okay, this is a common issue I know for a fact happens,
Right.
and if you can identify it, how did you or how would you recommend someone to overcome that?
Hmm. One common issue that I find is across the board, and I had to learn it myself, so I said I'm speaking from experience, is the reality that, or the thought that you need finances to start. That is such a common
Bullshit. You
issue.
don't.
I don't have any money. I can't start. Listen, cleaning company. Do you have a broom, a mop, and a vacuum?
And you don't even need a vacuum sometimes. You can just use a broom,
Get
mop,
one of
and
them hard
rags.
bristle brooms, a couple of rags. Listen, I tell people all the time, you guys have to understand the finance. I didn't have money when I started detailing. What I had was products. I had tire shine, I had soap, I had a couple of towels, and I'm not talking microfibers with these soft little
We're
towels.
talking towels
I
that
said,
you got.
Mom, I'm going in the
Yeah,
linen
rip them
closet
up, cut them
and
up.
I'm taking some towels and I'm cutting them up. I'm going to grab some stuff and I'm going to scrub these rims as hard as I can to get them clean. And that's the reality of how I started. I did not have five, ten, $15,000 in an account where I could say, "Oh, listen, I'm good to go. I got all the money in the
Yeah,
world that I need." No, it was just the reality that I knew I had to start. And even as I progressed in business, I thought, okay, well, now that I have my first shop, I need money. I have to have this piece of equipment. I have to have that piece of equipment. And the reality was, is like, no, you need clients because now you have
you
an
need
obligation.
clients to
You have
build.
something that you have to pay for. You have a building that you've signed a lease for. Now you have to pay for it. You just need clients. You know what I mean? So the I need people. I really hope that people understand when you are starting your business, finances is not what you need. Clients is what you need. So if you just start and you let people know this is the service that I offer, understand this, you don't have to pay the customer for wanting your service. The customer has to pay you. So if you
Absolutely.
have a service that you want to start and you say, this is my service, you offer it, someone needs it, you quote that customer. And if that customer says, you know what, I agree with the quote, I'm going to pay you for the service. You provide that service for them to the best of your abilities. Do the service, provide it to the best of your abilities within what they've paid for. Don't feel to go above and beyond just because it's your first client. Because guess what? Now that client's gonna expect that you do that every time. Then it's gonna turn into you losing money, right? You're gonna lose money every time.
Facts.
If someone buys my regular detail package, I'm not giving you my exquisite three detail package, which is the top end, because now you're gonna expect that same quality the first time.
Every
You already
time.
paid for it, right? So we have to make sure that we're in a position where we give them exactly what they paid for, and then have the understanding that now that you have that money, now that you've received that money for the service that you provided, take some of that money and invest it into other aspects of the
Keep
business.
going. Keep
But
flipping
just
it.
keep going, keep flipping the money, keep putting it back into it. Sometimes you understand you're going to have to work a part-time job along with your business as you grow. You're just going to have to do that. And there might be points where your business is going well and you have to backtrack and say, okay, now I need a part-time. Just allow that money to keep flowing through the
Yeah.
business, keep building up the business. But again, you do not have to have money in order to start your business. All you have to do is have a mindset to say, I'm going to start. That's it.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that. Oh my God, I'm so glad. It could have been other ones, but I'm glad you mentioned that because I forget that people think that too sometimes.
Yeah.
I have to have money to start. And I'm like, no, you don't. Like, I literally started with dollar store supplies. I had $50, went to the dollar store and got dollar store supplies.
Yeah.
And I started just going door to door.
Yeah. That's
door
it.
to door, and the Windex was bullshit because it was dollar store Windex.
Yes.
It was not good,
Yep.
but like it did the trick, and
Yep.
people started hearing about what I offered. And I like how the fact that you mentioned about if they're paying for a basic detail, you're not going to give them a luxury one.
Right.
And the reason why, Ravello, and I trust that you, I know why you said that's because I used to tell my cleaners,
Yes.
if you guys are going to a home, you are to clean as instructed as what they want, right?
Right.
You're not going to do what you want to do because you like them. Because what happens is the next cleaner coming in has to live up to your standards or that
Yes.
client's going to complain. Number
Yep.
one. Number two, the client's going to always expect it. If I decide to go in as an owner and clean, and then they call me and say, "Oh, this wasn't done," I'm like, "It's not supposed to be done." Well, my other cleaner's been doing it forever.
Right.
That's
No.
not good. Like,
Exactly.
I'm so glad you mentioned those things because
Yeah.
it is facts.
It is. So
It
very
is
true.
facts.
Yeah, listen. I learned it from experience. I've done it myself to a customer's vehicle. It was a first time customer, and it was the understanding. Like I said, I'm offering a luxury automotive detailing service. So when I got a client that was a luxury auto detailing client where they had a Rolls Royce, and I was like, okay, I gotta go above and beyond. And then I had one of my employees go and do it, and he called me complaining because my employee didn't do a good job. And I realized, like, no, no, I did. I went over and above what he actually paid for.
And
So
your client
now,
did the job that you
exactly,
instruct them to do. Your employee did what he was supposed to do.
exactly. So now it looks like, okay, well, why did you offer me only the cheap service? Why didn't I just get this one? So it's things like that where it's like you have to really be aware of those things because you can get like that customer didn't have to call me. He could have went right to Google and said, I'm leaving you a bad review because you
At
did a terrible job.
facts. Yeah, that's true too.
So now it's like now I don't even have opportunity to fix it because I didn't do the quality job that I was supposed to because I offered him the incorrect service the first time, you know?
These are real life. These are
Yes.
real life things that happen in business. Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
So true.
It is such a fact. And I'm laughing because people may look at you or they may look at me and say, "Oh, they've been in business, they know what they're doing." Oh my God, we had to learn
I had to learn all of
we had
this.
the trials and
Yes.
tribulations
Yes. All by experience.
all
All
by
by experience.
experience, right? So, and I'm glad that we can relate on that level. What are some of your long term goals,
Mm,
for ministry, for the
yes.
auto detailing, and
Yes.
for your non for profit, Revello?
Yes. So some of my long-term goals where detailing is concerned, I definitely have some big dreams and some big visions where the auto detailing company is concerned. Right now, of course, I do have a spot that I am using in Dartmouth, and I want to get it to the point where I want to scale it to the point where I have other young black men that are
Yeah.
working for me. So I currently have one that's working for me right now, and he's going to be going to part time because he's starting in school soon. But I want to scale it to the point where I love detailing, but detailing doesn't need to be my only aspect of work or income. I would
You're so
love to be able
right.
to mentor and train another young black man to be
Yeah.
able to take over that company. You know what I mean? To be able to manage that company, to be able to say, here are the keys, you manage this, and now you build up whatever aspect of your life it is that you need to build up, right?
Yeah.
I want to get to the point where I don't even have to be at the facility. I can just have that stuff going on and allow those things to happen, and then I can just pop up and show up and just check on things. If I need to do training, I can be there to train because I've actually created my own training curriculum already.
Which I'm
For
waiting to see you
yes,
launch.
yes, for auto detailing. So the curriculum's ready, but it's just a matter of soon. I'm going to be launching that, so that way I can start training people on how to properly auto detail. Where the nonprofit's concerned, one of my me I think my even a shorter term goal, just because I feel like the information that I have, I want to be able to get it out. So I really want to. I've been praying about it. Either have an opportunity where I can either do some sort of a keynote speaking session with young black men, whether they're high school students or adults, and then not just once, but do it consistently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
offer that stuff consistently, offer that information consistently, and then as well as even considering doing something of my own, whether it be an online platform similar to what you have, where I'm having these conversations and I'm offering information to these different young men, so they can learn. I'm like, I just want to give you opportunities to listen, opportunities to learn, opportunities to understand that you're more than what you think you are, you know. And then lastly, ministry. Where ministry is concerned, ultimately, I really truly believe that on a longer term, my goal is to have my prayer is to have my own church one day. But where
Yeah.
ministry is concerned, all of that is according to whatever God's will is, right?
Yeah.
I have no problem, like I said before, I have no problem being a servant, and I have no problem aiding and assisting someone else in ministry, young or old, to grow. You know what I mean? I have a lot of really good people around me right now, and one of my best friends, you might have heard of him, Pastor Cadell Brown.
I
He's
know. He's
Cadell Brown
doing
is a
so
pastor,
good.
amazing guy. He's my best friend, and even where he's concerned, if I'm in a position where I just put him on my shoulders and say, let me stabilize you, let me push you into purpose where ministry is concerned,
Yeah.
I'm of the mindset where I have no problem doing that. I have no problem being that person. I want to see people. I want to see my people do well. You know what I mean? So in every aspect of what I do, where the business is concerned, as long as I can see someone else doing well, that's what I want to do. Where the non-for-profit, as long as I can help somebody along the way, these are all just things that I want to do, and that would ultimately make it very fulfilling for me in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, everything you said is spot on, and I can't wait to see you go through the journey to get to the other side. And maybe when you own your own ministry and you have your own church, and I will be ready to step my feet back in,
Yes.
and yours will be the first one I step into.
For sure.
You never know. You never know.
Yes.
We are towards the end of our segment, which is always sad.
Yes.
Revello, do you have any last words of encouragement to the black men
Yes.
who may be listening?
Any of the black men that are listening, I would start by saying this. I'm proud of you. Wherever you are, whoever you are, I'm proud of you. You encourage me, old or younger, it doesn't matter. I'm proud of you. You encourage me, and I'm doing this for you. So let me not do this by myself, and let us do this together. Whether it be healing together, growing together, learning together, praying together. Let us do this together for the betterment of our families, of our wives, of our spouses, our partners, our children, our communities. I remember back in the day, they always used to talk about how the men in Preston used to get their shovels and would shovel the snow out of the community all the way to the main street. We might not have as much snow now, but we have barriers that are in the way. So let us get together as men.
Yeah.
Let's put our arms together. Let's put our heads together, and let's break some of those barriers down. Let's continue to push our way through, and continue to putting ourselves in front of those people. As the Bible tells us, let our light shine, so that people might know not just us, but people might know the God in us. So I just want to
Absolutely.
encourage you and let you know that you're loved. You're a special person. You're a unique person. I'm proud of you. And let's get to work.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I will be listing. Couldn't even get my lips over that. I'll be listing Revello's contact information for his car detailing, his social media pages where you guys will be able to contact him. It will be up and above on this one of our screens. But if you guys love what you heard today, make sure you follow Revello. He is someone to be followed. He's very inspirational, and he has lots of gifts, mentally, spiritually, gifts to give to not even just a black male, but black women, males in general. And if you loved our segment, as I'm sure you guys did, make sure you follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and our social media pages on Instagram and Facebook. But again, Revello, thank you very much for joining me. And until next week, guys, thank you for joining the Identity Shift, and I'll see you guys later.
Thanks.
See ya. Thank you for listening to Identity Shift. See everybody next week.